His Excellency the Governor of Odisha, Professor Ganeshi Lal, also our chief guest for this convocation ceremony, Dr. Samantha, the founder of this hallowed institution, Srimati Saraswati Bal, President of the KISS Society, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and above all, fellow luminaries on the podium, Pro-Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, and Pro-Vice-Chancellor. I'm extremely delighted to be here today for the simple reason that I'm reminded of my own father, who, when he came from a small village like almost all of us a few decades ago, and when he went to high school, he would walk 7 kilometers every morning. He was perhaps 10 or 11 years old. That was the closest high school if he wanted to study. So he did a trek of 15 kilometers every morning, every day. 7 in the morning, 7 in the evening. And of course, there were no buses, there were no small vehicles like the revolution we see today. If he didn't do that trek, I wouldn't be standing here today. So that is why I think this is such a fascinating experiment in delivering education to those that need it the most. And nobody needs it the most than the indigenous people of the world, what we call tribal communities, because they live in secluded enclaves in the midst of forests. They are the protectors of our natural heritage. Having been a former Assistant Secretary General of the UN and head of the UN's Environment Management Group as their secretary, I know what I'm talking about. You go anywhere around the world, the people that protect our natural heritage, our natural resources, our forests, our indigenous communities. Their wisdom, their energy, and their passion for everything that is important. We've lost our way. We've lost our way in the pursuit of modernization. And that's what this university does. It empowers the unempowered. It brings people to the mainstream of the global consciousness. The global consciousness is lacking a soul. So the more indigenous people we have in the mainstream conversation, the better off we will be as a human society. And that is why I think I'm really privileged to be standing here today as the Chancellor of the Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, deemed university. I would like to congratulate His Excellency the Governor of Odisha, Shri Murmu, Dr. Mishra, and Mr. Mahapatra for the honorary doctorate that they would be receiving today. When any university awards a D.Litt honoris causa, it is of course in recognition of the individual brilliance and the excellence of those that receive these degrees, but it also enhances the institution. And in that symbiotic relationship of recognizing individual excellence and enhancing institutional standing, there couldn't be 4 better examples on the planet that we have sought and received their acceptance. And so I'm extremely delighted that they'll be receiving the honorary doctorates today, this morning. And to our graduates, every ending, you're graduating today, it has been a steadfast journey. You have worked very hard. Everybody in this room has been through some educational institution, and no learning process is easy. For some, it might be, but for most, it is a quest It is a journey of discovery, not just in terms of formal education, but in terms of finding oneself, understanding what is our passion, what can we do best with whatever God has given us in terms of skills, knowledge, and wisdom, and above all, attitude. What you walk away from here is attitude, an attitude of service, and then nothing exemplifies more than Dr. Samantha and all of you, people that founded this hallowed institution, helped in the founding of this extraordinary, I would say. The first time I visited this place as UN Assistant Secretary General a few years ago, I remember I met the children, and I remember telling Dr. Samantha, I said, you're doing God's work. Because anybody that brings a child and then lifts them up with the greatest of ambition and fires them up to be the best they can be, can only be doing God's work. So thank you, Dr. Samantha, and everyone else in this room, because I have myself been in charge of major institutions in my life, working with tens of thousands of people. It is never a one-man show. Somebody certainly produces the vision, but it is the thousands, the seen and the unseen, the visible and the invisible, that make the dream happen. So thank you all for traveling along this journey of the vision that Dr. Samantha came up with a few decades ago. And lastly, as you all become alumni, our graduates, please know that you are our pride. We take immense pride in what you have accomplished, certainly, but what you are about to accomplish. A few years ago, Berhampur University, where I studied, invited me to be awarded the most distinguished alumni award. So I asked the Vice Chancellor, I said, why me? He said, yes, of course, it recognizes what you have achieved in life, but more importantly, I want you to be that role model that every student can take inspiration from. And you did your education here, that's why we want you to be that role model. And I said, of course, I will show up whenever you want me to, because the argument was so compelling as an alumni. And so all of you, as you become alumni today, remember that someday your university will call you back, because you would have achieved so much that the university itself will be eclipsed by your achievements in life, by your performance in life. That's the purpose of any educational institution, that you go and be better and bigger and much more compassionate and pursue the great motto of this institution, service before self, and deeds speak louder than words. Thank you.